Is this the Rookie CEO podcast?
Yeah, I think we're in the right place.
Oh, Hev, it's recording. This is Fuzz.
And I'm Hev, and you're listening to the Rookie CEO podcast.
Today we are joined by Keeley Walker.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I completely forgot your last name.
You
then.
weren't sure, I wasn't sure.
You
That was
wasn't
awkward.
sure. From Brisan Accountancy. And what's your role within Brisan?
I'm one of the directors.
One of the directors?
Yes.
And yeah, today we're going to be talking about accounting DIY. Do it yourself at home because you just can't afford to outsource it. Let's just say you've started your business. You're going to give us some nice tips and tricks for the listeners at home.
Yeah, so probably going against the industry, but DIY accounting, I'm not against it.
Okay. And that's why we have you on for this specific episode.
Yeah, to encourage it. Yeah, because unlike when I DIY my electrics, there's no risk to life, so it's okay.
Okay, I'm hoping no electricians are listening to this.
No, or they'll all be in touch
or
with
any
me,
insurance company.
my home insurance company. So I think the key thing is trying to find out how to do it properly. Best practice. I would absolutely, if you're a startup new to business, I'd probably take advantage of speaking to other people in business, take advantage of free initial consultation with an accountant, which I realise is counterintuitive, but if you find that accountant early on, even though you may not use their services, that's going to set a really good foundation for when you later on can afford them.
Yeah.
So, take tips, tricks. YouTube's a great one.
We've had that a lot. We've had that a lot.
Yeah, finding out how to do things. Don't rely on your mate down the pub. And I'm a big advocate for using some tools. So make sure I'm Pro Xero. Obviously, at the firm we are Pro Xero. So I think.
What is Xero for our listeners?
So Xero is a cloud bookkeeping software. So from Xero, you can do all your sales invoicing. You can record all your purchases, all your costs, receipts, everything. So the idea is it all gets recorded. You'll have your profit, your ins and outs of the bank, and you'll have in theory, if you're keeping it up to date, a real up-to-date picture of how your business is doing.
And for the listeners that are doing it themselves completely, like I know a few people that are still using Microsoft Excel because they just want to minimize their outgoings as much as possible. What would you advise them, and why is Excel so different to the likes of Xero?
I think because there are so many other steps. So if you think you're recording everything on Excel, how are you getting sales invoices out? So you're not just using Excel, you're probably using a Word document, a template of some sorts to send out your sales invoices, creating them, manually updating them every month or week or however often you send them out.
I guess there's more room for error with doing that as well.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
I think my knowledge of Xero is very limited because I hate bookkeeping. But you can set out recurring invoices, so you kind of only got to get your invoice right once.
Yeah, pretty much, and then it's easy to see whether it's been paid or not if you're making sure that
you can't link Excel to your bank, can you?
No. So there's so much more you can do with it. So I know, obviously, if you're a new business, they are tight, and you're going to have to make some tough decisions. I think from an investment perspective, it's worth having on the basis that you're going to save time doing your invoicing. You can link it up, so you can have a link on your invoices, so when it goes to your customers, they can pay it straight away. If you think actually that time saving, you don't have to chase your customers. You can set up your automatic invoice reminders, and when it does come around to doing your tax return or your accounts, it's just so much easier.
Yeah, and I guess with this making tax digital that's coming, I know the threshold, especially if you're just starting up fresh, the threshold probably seems miles away, but that's only going to get lower and lower, isn't it? So using that Excel sheet, you're kind of setting yourself up for, you're going to have to change it anyway, so you might as well start as you mean to go on.
Yeah, absolutely. So if your earnings, so your sales income, and if you have properties as well, your rental income, if all of that added together for the year to the 5th of April 2025 was over 50,000, you're going to have to go into Making Tax Digital from the 1st of April 26. That then tapers down to 30 grand, 20 grand. So it's going to capture a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, what would you advise those people then? Because obviously there's going to be a lot of people listening to this that are in that bracket, and they're probably pooing themselves. What would you tell them now if they were listening? What would you advise?
Don't bury your head in the sand. Think about it early. And like we said earlier, there's free workshops available. There's YouTube. Just again, speak to an accountant if you know one. Understand what you're going to have to do. I certainly feel like it would be better to get ready ahead of the game. You don't want to be in a position where you're late. We don't know what the potential penalties are going to be. Interest if you are late. There's obviously risk that it will just snowball. If you're late on one, you could be late on the next, and so on. And you don't want to be in a position where you end up having to pay someone anyway to do a big catch up.
And what are the pros to this from an actual, not from the government aspect, but what are the pros to it from a business aspect? Now they've introduced this.
So on the assumption that you're keeping it up to date, if you have an idea of what your profit is on a quarterly basis, or even on a monthly basis, then you're going to have an idea what your tax bill is as you go along. So there's nothing worse than leaving it until the end of the tax year, or right up until the due date, and then finding out, I've got a lot of tax to pay and I've not put anything aside. So
stay in control then. It's keeping
absolutely, yeah, and it's definitely otherwise you have like fear of the unknown, so you don't know what it's going to be. And if you know that actually 1 month you've been really profitable, actually you know that next month I need to spend some money to save some tax. And then so whether you need new camera, new new
I love that you look straight at me.
I guess it gives you the opportunity also to pivot if things maybe aren't working, because you're aware, okay, I've just done this return, things aren't looking good, I need to shift gears.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey Hev, have you heard of IT Managed Services? They're an IT support service based in Kent.
Yeah, I've been with them for over a year now. I love being able to just call them at any point and they take over my computer and fix the issue so much quicker than spending hours on Google.
Why have you kept that to yourself all this time? Right, I need to sign up to these guys. What's their website?
It's it-ms.co.uk, or you can call 01634 218 362.
So I work with a lot of startups, and one of their questions to me is how much can I earn or how much tax I can pay. If I don't know how much money they're going to make and what their costs are, it's really difficult to explain that to them. So knowing as you go along, I essentially reverse engineer it, because everyone knows what they need to earn to pay the bills, then there'll be what they want to earn. And it's sort of, if you have that figure in mind, have a personal budget as an individual, and then build that into your business budget. You know what you need each month to cover your bills. And then you can foresee, okay, well, I need to either build up some funds, like you say, pivot, maybe, differentiate what you're doing, how you're doing it, and then just to improve whether it's cash flow or the amount of money you're making.
What about for the people and trades, I think especially, when they have the car filing system where they get the receipt for their petrol and they chuck it in the glove box and they don't bring it all out until it's nearly deadline day for your self-assessment. Shoe
boxes are for shoes. They are not for receipts.
And when I first started, I had a pocket wallet. I'd kept them all, and I brought it to my sister and she was horrified.
I had a client bring in a huge wad of receipts, and actually as you started going through them, I say it was not me. Our poor apprentice, he actually brought in rubber gloves to go through these receipts because they were so disgusting. As you can imagine, someone who is working as a builder, pretty dusty stuff. It was quite unpleasant, but a lot of the receipts fade as well.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what I found with mine. I was like trying to work it out, and I'm like, is this £50 or 500?
So that would
500.
give me
Yeah,
anxiety.
if it's
It was
supposed to
500,
tax,
yeah.
Expensive
hilarious.
coffee.
So, like, what are there? I know, obviously, I know, but just for listeners, like, there are kind of receipt capturing things to make that easier, aren't there?
Yeah, so you can connect, you can use Xero, you can use some different alternatives. So there's Receipt Bank, which is now called Dext. I like software called Apron. Obviously, Dext has a nice orange branding, so I'm sure it's
I do
very,
like Dext. I
yeah,
didn't
very
realise
popular in the...
You introduced me to Dex, and it's so much easier to just scan a receipt and it goes straight into your Xero approved outgoings. Basically, all you got to do is just reconcile it. It's so simple, and I love it. But just going back onto the sort of the DIY SOS stuff. DIY SOS.
Different
Why is that
program.
a different program? What am I on about? Going back to the accounting DIY, I should say, DIY SOS. Obviously, having an accountant myself, for people that haven't got one, I always say to them, look, it's going to pay for itself, because you don't know, or you're not confidently in the know on what you can and can't claim on tax. And I'm telling you now, not you because you're the expert, but I'm telling you now that there's stuff you're just not claiming that you can claim, and that's why you pay for an accountant. Now, what would you say are, like I said, the three biggest things that people who haven't got an accountant just simply are not claiming for because they just don't know they can?
Yeah, so obviously it's very dependent on what you do, but no one can grasp, it seems like, mileage, whether it's more efficient to claim fuel, mileage, or the rules around that. Gets a little bit complicated if you've not got a company or business vehicle, because then obviously if you're claiming all the fuel, you can't really separate
Personal and business.
Absolutely. So keeping a mileage log, for example, it can sometimes actually work out more efficient that way. Use of home. So there is a simplified HMRC expense, but if you do genuinely work from home, you can make a more reasonable claim for genuine business costs.
Yeah.
Third,
So
so things like uniform.
I was going to say, like, I have an office,
Yeah.
but I work from home 3 days a week
Yeah.
because of the weekend. I work all the bloody time. How does that work then? Could I still claim? Could I still get the benefits of working from home? Or will HMRC question why you're also paying rent?
Yeah, so anything you claim can be challenged by HMRC, and that's, I guess, the key thing to why an accountant does pay for itself, because you might overclaim, and, well, if HMRC challenges that, then
You've got to prove it.
Yeah, you got to prove it. You could be penalised. So HMRC's argument for if you claimed a proportion of your property, for example, their argument could be, oh, there's dual purpose.
Yeah.
So I would recommend keeping proper logs of when you're working from home, which even in a diary, and there's going to be things that are quite obvious you are using for the business. So likely your broadband, for example. But if you've got like a Sky TV package with that, don't claim that as well. There's definitely some dual purpose. So
I see.
It's,
Okay.
Yeah, it's HMRC's wording is wholly and exclusively for the purpose of business.
Yeah. Okay, fair. So what was that third one you came up with? So sorry.
So mileage,
Mileage, yeah.
travel, so understanding what you can and can't claim. I've completely forgotten. It's like
Working from home.
Well,
working from home, things like uniform, protective clothing, branded clothing.
Yeah.
So something worth thinking about.
So was that like, is in like washing it as well?
Yes, you can claim a laundry allowance as well. So there's a simplified expense. Again, it's dependent on what you do, but you can't just start claiming your washing up liquid and stuff.
But I
for the
guess,
company.
like, say you were, I don't know, like a social media influencer. If that was your whole business, right?
Asking for a friend.
Yeah. You could things like going to the hairdressers. You could claim that, can't you? Because I guess that's part of their brand.
Yeah, it's really controversial. Really controversial.
Really?
I had someone who they do furnishings and like upholstering chairs, and she basically tried arguing that getting her nails done was an expense because she ruins her nails doing the work.
Yeah.
And I think what you've got to consider is how willing are you to argue with that with HMRC?
Yeah. I guess you'd have more of a it would be more of a compelling argument. Say if you were a performer,
Yeah.
and say you were like
Yeah.
a burlesque dancer and you had long red nails
Yeah.
as part of your burlesque outfit, you could be like, oh, it's
probably
part of my costume.
it's probably a fair argument.
Yeah.
I have someone who is a performer on cruise ships.
Yeah.
She has to buy, because she's self-employed, she has to buy certain outfits for performances. So there is an element of that.
Yeah. Or I guess say you play a character and you have to continuously dye your hair black. Like you'd have to claim that, I guess.
I think going back though, just like you literally hit the nail on the head there earlier, where if you feel like you can argue it and win the case with HMRC, then you can claim it. Theoretically, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Or assuming if it is genuine, you can't just
Well, no, I
make
know.
it
But
up.
I mean,
There's
it
been
is,
some
though,
really
it's
funny
true.
claims over the years.
Yeah.
If you go on Google and just search ridiculous claims.
What's the funniest one you've ever had?
Someone wanted to claim that their dog was a guard dog for their yard.
Okay. How expensive was the dog?
It's quite expensive, but it was a French bulldog, so I don't feel like it was.
That's the guard
yeah,
dog
it
material.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't even a. Yeah, if it's a guard dog breed, maybe.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it's yeah. People. Some have
Yeah.
more of an appetite for risk than others.
I heard someone's they wanted to claim getting their veneers done because apparently it gave them more confidence in meetings.
Look, if they can push back to HMRC, then why not? I just want to end the episode on self-assessments quickly. I find them extremely overwhelming. I've done one in my life, and then I sent it to you, didn't I? Because you amended it.
And what happened when I amended it?
When you amended it, this is perfect. Actually, it's a perfect
Yeah,
example.
perfect
for the listeners.
example.
So I did my first self-assessment last year. Part of it was employed. Part of it was basically unemployed because I was building up Fuzzy Logic. I got a £1,000 rebate from that, just not automatically. All I did was I just told HMRC I've not worked since January to now, to April, and they gave me a £1,000 rebate. And then I finally got an accountant, and it was 2.5 on top of
Extra,
that.
yeah,
So 2.5
extra.
on top of that. Keeley's managed to get me back.
And like when you compare that to probably how much you paid
Yeah.
in accountancy fees, way worth it to get an extra £2.5 grand.
Exactly that. So I think I understand it's a big leap for the listeners, right? It's a big leap to go, right, can I afford between £100 and £300 a month for an accountant, depending whether they want to do bookkeeping. Loads of add-ons to have in
I think if
accountants.
you're a sole trader, it's going to be a lot more cost effective.
Yeah.
What I would say is find an accountant that obviously is in your budget, but make sure you know what you're paying for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're going cheap, then you might get a cheap service as well.
Yeah.
And make sure there's transparency, clarity on bills. There's going to be nothing worse than not only getting a surprise tax bill, but a
Yeah.
surprise bill of your accountant on top of that.
100%. And I do
is
think as
gonna
well
hurt.
that just like any service that's quite personal, I think you need to have a good connection with your accountant. I do think that, and you've learned that recently as well.
Yeah.
Is that it does help because you then trust them to deal with your accounts.
Yeah. But I also think you need to bear in mind, like, you kind of need to go pick a firm. Like, I know you guys do this, so you can scale with them. So they have packages that will take you right from that sole trader right to if you end up being a huge business. It's nice if you pick a firm that has the packages to cater you through that journey, so you can like kind of change, but
Yeah.
not actually have to kind of pull all your
Yeah.
accounts out and go elsewhere.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of people who have been in business for decades, and a high proportion of them will say they've been with the same accountant the whole time. So, you know, it's in an accountant's interest to support you. And I think no matter how small you are as a business, you should never feel like someone's smallest client.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good
Yeah.
way to end the episode. Thank you so much, Keeley, for joining us today. And thank you, listeners, for listening. And we'll see you guys next week.
See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.